I said, hey, yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mojados, and we back for another video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about the Flow blockchain, everything Flow, because we're getting some interesting headlines across the board. And I've been bullish on Flow for quite a while. I actually wrote about this on my website on May 13th, so it's about three months ago. So that's that. And I was also bullish on Flow for quite a while. I just never wrote about it. And that's kind of why we made my website, and you guys can check out my website. Link in the bio. So will this article be as well. And I'm just going to, again, talk about Flow here and talk about, again, different things here from the ecosystem, what Flow is, the background, collaboration, tokenomics, so on and so forth. So very short article, but I'm going to give you guys everything you need to know about Flow, and we're going to jump right in. So first things first, the thing that was most interesting recently, before the Instagram news, was that Dapper Lab debuts a $725 million ecosystem fund for blockchain development, which is absolutely groundbreaking, right? Lots of times, a lot of projects don't have the money to be launch their platforms or NFTs or whatever it is, but having a $725 million fund for people to build is very, very good, because it encourages and incentivizes people to jump on this blockchain wave, right? And create NFTs essentially. And this is like the ecosystem. You have games and collectibles, DeFi, marketplaces, dev tools, art and community. So they have a really good ecosystem. And this is also an older photo, so this could be updated. So that is that. So starting off, Flow's ecosystem has grown exponentially since releasing multiple collaborations across many sectors, from gaming, collectibles, metaverse, art, and sports-related NFTs. Developers have found Flow easy to transition to with no experience in crypto. Flow uses 4 nodes and requires no validators to confirm transactions on the network. The node design allows Flow to efficiently scale to potentially billions of people at one given time. So basically, Flow is pretty interesting. It does it a little bit differently, but we're going to talk a little bit more about what Flow is. So jumping to what is Flow. Flow is a blockchain created by Dapper Labs. Dapper Labs is a famously known company that launched CryptoKitties in 2017, guys. So guys, these guys are the OGs of the OGs, okay? They created pretty much the first game, essentially, if you want to call it. And it was, again, called CryptoKitties, and this happened, again, in 2017, way before anybody was even speaking about NFTs, but they had scaling issues, right? So, of course, the game CryptoKitties was on Ethereum, but they could not scale because of all the fees and TPS, and, it just wasn't effective. So the developers at Dapper Labs created a more secure, efficient, and scalable experience to tackle the problem like scaling. Flow is a developer-friendly, energy efficient, and open source blockchain. The design allows Flow's blockchain to handle millions of microtransactions around NFTs, the team says. So Flow is also the native currency for the Flow blockchain that fuels the cryptocurrency. I think I said that backwards. Flow is the native cryptocurrency that flows the blockchain, and yeah, that's that. Flow is utilized for settling transactions, triggering smart contracts, and staking rewards. So that's pretty much how Flow is used in the ecosystem. But jumping more into the background of it, Flow is a project based out of Vancouver, Canada, which was created by Dapper Labs. The founders are Roham, I'm going to butcher this, I'm just going to say Roham G, Mikhail N, and Dieter S, who envision a platform for digital collectibles and blockchain-based games. Dapper Labs also ensured that developer experiences are as simple as possible. So they created Cadence. Cadence is a programming language that is easy to understand, simple to read, and effortlessly audible, right? And Cadence is basically what they're using, and it's very, very easy to use for the simple fact that it's, again, simple to read, easy to understand, and it's really easily audible. A lot of times you're seeing a lot of these smart contracts that are written, or code that's written, and then you see a hack that takes place, right? Just recently we see bridges getting hacked, and constantly you keep hearing about exploits, right? But Cadence is something that's very easily audible, and it's supposed to help prevent these things from happening. quick sip of water there. So then Cadence also allows smart contracts to be upgraded to avoid exploits. That takes the pressure off developers if they need to update a contract. Flow blockchain uses a unique multi-node architecture to validate transactions, illustrated like below. But just again, on Cadence, so if they find an issue in the smart contract and something's wrong, they can upgrade that smart contract to, again, avoid exploits. And that's also really interesting as well if you look at it from the other side. Like, okay, what if a smart contract is placed and then, like, you know, they want to change it and it's not because of an exploit? That's something to think about. Just thought I'd mention it. But again, it gives them that capability. And you know, I don't know how one can, you know, think about it. Maybe it makes it a little bit more centralized because of that. But again, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think could be good and bad. But moving on, Flow blockchain uses a unique multi-node architecture to validate transactions. And this is basically the picture. The things is off the white paper. Flow eliminates charting by splitting actions and creating validation processes that allow each node to focus on a single task. This architecture allows for a faster and more efficient validation process. So basically, each node will do a single task, like executing and verifying, and that basically allows it to operate more efficiently. And then there's also consensus nodes as well, which you can see here, and all of them work individually to ensure that the transaction is being validated. And also, I guess that makes it clearer too, like if something happens, like you know which node or where to stop, which, you know, does make it again, you know, more interesting. So I guess, you know, this architecture is very, very interesting because I haven't seen nothing like it. But again, it's working together. It's a multi-node architecture, so we'll see how that ages. But you know, they're doing pretty good so far. And then going on to the Flow funding and collaboration side, Flow had an initial coin offering with the following funds: June Fund and Satori Research. Although the ICO was relatively small, the blockchain has attracted some of the biggest names to collaborate with Flow, like NBA Top Shot, UFC Strike, and NFL All Day. So those are some really big, you know, partnerships. I know that right now you guys might be saying, oh, like, you know, it's so small and these companies don't care and da da da. But you have to remember, like, the clients that Flow is working with is pretty big, right? Because again, NBA, just working with the NBA on one project doesn't mean that they can't work on another project. What's to say that after NBA Top Shot, there's not something else that gets created, right? Or after UFC Strike and NFL All Day, they'll create something else, right? And this is like a testing period for everybody, right? NBA is like, okay, we had a great experience with Flow, with Top Shot. Let's just go back to them again for X, Y, and Z. And so same for UFC and NFL. And there's also other things that are being built on Flow, which again, is just very beneficial for the whole entire Flow ecosystem to keep flourishing. But moving on, attracting major names have lured in more investors to build on the Flow blockchain, as they have raised $725 million for its ecosystem fund. Flow recently made headlines that Meta will support the incorporation of their blockchain via NFTs. So this is like basically like kind of old news, essentially, that Instagram was going to allow NFTs on their blockchain. And if you guys are not aware, Meta is Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram, so they've just like slowly been integrating it. And then Dapper Labs also has a strong backing from YouTube, Venrock, Digital Currency Group, Google Ventures. And again, you got to remember that Dapper Labs is basically, like I mentioned here, you know, that created Flow. So Dapper Labs created Flow. So basically, like, they're indirectly correlated. And you know, Dapper Labs was a strong backing. Like, this is the backing from Dapper Labs. So everything that, like, you know, like Dapper does, Flow is gonna benefit from it because again, they're getting help from basically a behemoth that's being backed by such companies, right? So Dapper Labs being like close to Flow is, like, again, a very good like win for the Flow blockchain, because there's also like rumors as well where like the developers of Dapper are also working on Flow, so like they're very closely correlated. So that's that. So the excitement around Flow blockchain is unmatched. With such a strong team and endorsements, it's hard to believe that they're not poised to succeed. And then moving on to Tokenomics, Flow is an ERC20 token that launches with a total supply of 1.25 billion tokens in June 2020, with a circulating supply of 1.04 billion. Currently, the total supply is 1.373 billion. And it has an inflation rate, so this is also important as well to know. If you're gonna buy a token, you should be aware that there's a 4% inflation every single year. And then 20, this is like how it breaks down. So like as far as tokenomics are broken down, 20% of it went to Dapper Labs, 18% went to the Flow team, 32% went to ecosystem development, and the rest of it was sold to early investors for a total of 33 million. Flow also is again used for transaction fees, data storage, and soon on-chain governance. So that's pretty cool. And then again, the governance mechanism allows Flow token to submit proposals in a decentralized manner, so that one entity may not outsize or influence a vote. Token holders have the right to propose changes like ecosystem decisions, protocol parameters, and protocol upgrades. Flow's team's eventual goal is that the network is run by the community and no influence over stakeholders. Flow is both a governance token and a functional protocol token for the overall network. Currently, it is important to note that on-chain governance has not been finalized. And then for staking, there's also staking reward. So like, let's just say that you're holding a token for a long term. The inflation is like 4% or 3.75%, but you can stake and get back 8.3%, it looks like. So it says that Flow token holders may contribute to the network by staking. Staking rewards are 8.3%, have no minimum requirements of tokens. Validators may also earn up to 9.3 or 9.03%. And then it does require, though, if you're going to run a validator, it will require 135 tokens. And then again, there are 7-day lockup periods, and this is also interesting. So this is a photo here, and it shows basically like how many people are staking, which is really cool. Like pretty much what we see here is that it's pretty much stagnant. This is like a 30-day chart, so like I guess people haven't added, but 53% of the supply is people staking their tokens, and these are the rewards. You get 8% if you're going to stake. It's easy to do as far as complexity. And then if you're going to run a validator, you're going to need 135,000 tokens at the minimum with a 7-day period. It looks like right now there's some API maintenance on this token, so maybe this is why you're not seeing an increase here. So that is that. And then I also want to mention, like, one other thing that I didn't write here is that to run a node, like, because there are different nodes, you have to go through like a centralized process, which is not really like the most ideal way of doing things. And I think you have to get approved by like Flow. Like there's like 5 nodes only, right? Like there's not that many nodes, so only a few nodes like manage the network. And I just wanted to mention that to you guys. So it is somewhat centralized on the node side, right? There's not that many, and I think like majority of them are ran by the Flow company or Dapper. So it is something to note. Maybe that has changed, but I just wanted to mention that to you guys. And then also looking at the technical analysis side of it, right? This is also something to share. At the time, again, this is May 13th, so I said here that Flow hit an all-time high of $40, and since then it's been downtrending. When something like this has been downtrending, it is best to wait for the dust to settle, as bottoms take a long time to form. There is no support, and again, you just wait for confirmation. The funniest part of this photo is that at 289, I think that was the low. If we look at the chart here, or actually no, it wasn't the low. 289 was there. Then we had one more dip again to 130. Okay, never mind. It wasn't low. So again, we did fall lower, but we want to act on confirmation, right? So when we look at the chart today, we see that it's pretty bullish, and I do like the chart overall, right? I think overall the chart does look nice. I know you're probably saying, what the hell are you saying, Mo? Like the price is like getting destroyed. But you got to remember, this could be basically 5 waves down here, and then we could start seeing a bigger move to the upside, right? This again is like almost like an exhausted sell-off. And even if you want to take a trend line like from the highs here, right? Like I don't know, like if you want to draw it like this, like breaking past this $3 and then holding above it, like consolidating above here, like that would be very nice to see. So there's a few ways you can tackle this chart, but personally I think that this Instagram news that we saw just recently, which I'm going to show you guys in a second, has also helped the price, because again, this was again yesterday. So what we saw was that Instagram supports Flow, and we're also seeing again that Flow's blockchain has hit an all-time high for like weekly users and active accounts. So it's very, very bullish. So again, we're seeing all the right things from a fundamental side, and we're seeing that, you know, people want to use the Flow blockchain, or at least, you know, flows in the right places, you know, and they're partnered with like Instagram and stuff like that, so that kind of helps them, you know, get that advantage to be the first. I'm sure there'll be more that follow, but again, just the fact that Flow is partnered with Instagram, and you know, maybe they're also gonna be on Facebook soon, and you know, and NBA, UFC, and just again, so many companies that are major big corporations and giants in their space are using Flow versus like any other blockchain is very nice to see. Okay, so I just want to run that point home. The fact that they're being adopted first is a very big win and significant advantage. So, you know, that's why you see like such a crazy spike here in volume. I'm sure that other exchanges might be different. I'm sure that, yeah, it's still pretty high when it comes to the volume side, but we are running into a resistance here. So this is, again, something to be aware of. And what I expect here is price to consolidate here, right? If we can stay in this area, in this range here from this like 231, then most likely we're going to break up. So for people who are watching and saying, what the heck, why does that range matter? This can act as a deviation, right? And essentially what we can see there is that this area was like an area to trick people. And this was the actual range that was needed to hold before continuing back up. So that's really important to note. And that's what I'm just, you know, sitting here and watching, right? And that's how I trade, right? Trading off of confirmation, trading off of, you know, fundamentals as well, and seeing that the active user base is growing on the Flow blockchain. And again, just seeing all these different collaborations and seeing that almost first like mover advantage on different platform, which is cool to see. And yeah, this is like, again, something I'm watching for. I think we're at a resistance. I don't think that we'll break this. If we do break it, I do think that we're probably going to have a deviation to come back lower here anyways. But if it does go higher, I mean, that's great to see. Off the Instagram news, we did pump like, what, 63%? And then overall, like from the lows, we pumped 1.5x. So like basically 2.5x from the lows. So yeah, just staying patient. And if we hold this range here, this will be a trigger going sideways here, then probably see a price movement or, you know, like momentum being built. That's what would make it pretty bullish. And yeah, that's, again, super simple strategy. Just wait for confirmation, and then from there, if confirmation is strong here, if we're accumulating and holding it, then hey, listen, we're probably gonna go back up. Or if we do break lower again, then we'll have to reassess and say, okay, well, let's see what's actually happening here. Are we really bullish, or are we just like, you know, was this like basically like a fake out pump before we continue going back lower, like we saw over here, right, where pumps go sideways, pumps again, and then just continues to go back lower. So something to keep watching, and you guys don't want to miss it. Make sure you're subbed to my channel, because I'm going to be posting any updates on like Flow on my daily market updates if something happens. I also posted one yesterday, kind of touching base on the same stuff, but not from a fundamental side. So that leads me to the conclusion. It is difficult to see an asset like Flow and buy it when it's at an all-time low. However, with all the research in this post, I believe that Flow will have a lot of advancements that will shock many in the coming years. Partnering with legacy brands like NFL, NBA, UFC and more is nothing to shrug off. The CEO has even hinted at trying to work with well-known fashion brands. Dapper Labs also has solid investors with companies like YouTube, Google Ventures, Samsung, and more to guide them and connect them with other brands. And the progress that Flow has already had is the progress that Flow has already made is no question that they are just getting started and will most likely continue growing the ecosystem to the best of their ability in the world of NFTs. So that's it, guys. I think that they're tackling NFTs, and they're going to be pretty much like, in my opinion, like that chain that just revolves around NFTs. And I think that they're going to continue growing because of all the partnerships that they have. The parent company, Dapper Labs, is, you know, helping them out a lot. So it helps them push that Flow blockchain. And I think Flow is going to keep on growing, right? I know that the price is low right now, but you guys know what I'm looking for before I believe it will continue going back up. And again, Flow is already in all the right places. So it's a matter of time. And it's going to be interesting to watch what advancements come out of the Flow blockchain. So that leaves me with that. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end, it really helps if you like and subscribe, because it helps the algorithm. And as always, hodl, hodl, hodl. Peace.